The government isn't being transparent about the risk. Well, that's for sure. The CDC director, Rochelle Walensky, is insisting that myocarditis is not actually a significant risk. And in the process of claiming that, she contradicts her own agency's data. Watch.
To just put this in perspective, if we have a group of 12 to 17-year-olds who are working to vaccinate over the next 4 months, and we can vaccinate 1 million of them, which would be great strides, over the next 4 months, we could expect 30 to 40 of these mild, self-limited cases of myocarditis. And for that, if we were to vaccinate all 1 million, we would avert 8,000 cases of COVID, 200 hospitalizations, 50 ICU stays, and 1 death. And so we weigh the risks as well as the benefits, these extraordinary benefits of vaccines.
Well, that's just not true. As noted by Alex Berenson, and we checked, if you go to the CDC's website, you will find CDC numbers that contradict what the CDC director just said. According to CDC, out of a typical group of 100,000 young people who take the vaccine, more than 25,000 can be expected to have side effects, 1 in 4. Another 700 will likely require medical care, 200 will be hospitalized. As we noted, Alex Berenson can actually do math. He's the author of Unreported Truths. He joins us tonight. Alex, first of all, great catch on this. Thank you for doing it. How could the CDC director say something that the CDC contradicts?
You know, that's a really good question, and you know, it's interesting because if you look at the meeting that they had yesterday and the materials, the numbers are in there, and you can, and there's been other papers that they've written over the last few months. You can get to the truth, but then their scientists then come out, and then Dr. Walensky comes out and says things that are not supported by their own data. And whether that's just because, they're bad at math, or whether they have the teachers unions yelling at them that they have to get kids vaccinated, or whether, they're getting, they're aware of how important pharma is, and, in Washington, I don't know, okay? I don't know why they can't tell the truth, but they can't tell the truth, Tucker.
It's scaring the hell out of people who are very pro-vaccine. I'm in that category. I'm completely for vaccines, always have been. But if they're lying about the harm, then why would you trust anything they say? Seriously.
I don't know. I don't know. And I don't know what the frenzy to vaccinate kids is. Children and young adults, and really adults up to 30, healthy adults up to 40, they are at very, very low risk from this. And I don't understand it when you sort of look at state by state. Once you vaccinate older adults, it doesn't look like you get very much benefit at all from vaccinating younger people. So what the frenzy is on this, I don't know. By the way, I just want to say one thing, which I know we're short on time, but this piece that I wrote, I now have something called a Substack, which is a newsletter, which is longer than my Twitter feeds. It's shorter than the booklets. Your audience has been a great, they've been great supporters of the booklets. But this is a way to get information out quickly in a way that's easier to read than Twitter. So I hope people will come take a look and judge the numbers for themselves. Because as you said, you and your team were able to see how clearly the CDC was not telling the truth about this. So come to the Substack and please take a look for yourself.
And its Substack, we should say, is one of the last protected, I think, media out
That's
there.
right.
It's not controlled by Google or Facebook. Is that correct?
That's right. So I'm not, that I was up against it with Amazon. They tried to censor me. Substack is not censorable. People can read this stuff for free, or they can subscribe and pay. That's their choice. But this is an audience, it's like you. It's one of the last bastions out there of independent journalism, and I'm glad to have it. And I honestly hope I'm going to be able to turn this into a newsletter that's about more than COVID, where I'm able to actually report on, important issues that other media outlets are not covering That's why it's called Unreported Truths. It's the same as the booklets, because it's going to be more than COVID.
Man, there are so many of those. I think history will judge you well. Alex Berenson, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Tucker.